Dabba 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 dibba da da. Beep a bubby bubby bubba boop bap bap. Beep a boopy bubby booba bip bap bap. Beep a booby bubby booby boop bap bap. Beep a boopy bubby bubba. Hello everyone, my name is Stonsey Boy and welcome back to Reading with Stonsey. Today should be relatively short, only 14 pages, only one chapter, or it's going to be pages 149 to 163, chapters 13. Pretty easy, pretty simple, only one chapter, only one way. So we got to do it all in today. Now, without further ado, let me lay back in my cold sofa and let's begin. Chapter 13, When the World Changes. I have to change, I told Moo. Now that I got mining and clothes monsters, I have to change the planning and preparing about the 5 Ps. Moo, said the cow. That would have been sarcastic. You think? I need a new plan for fighting, maybe a lot of it down here, I continued, which means preparing a lot more food and hyper-healing. I glanced around the forest, imagining what would be like after dark. It also means getting luck into my nighttime studies of the mobs to make sure that I'm not missing any details about their behavior. Which also means my eyes fell to my sword, experimenting with all the resources I have, just to make sure I wasn't missing any other weapons. Swapping my sword out for a skeleton bone in my belt, I said, who knows what I can get from this? What I ended up getting was a blast from my future running past. Even more this time when I wouldn't blame my failures on hunger or deep separation. What's the point? I griped to Moo, holding the worthless white pile. If I can't eat or burn it and make it into something useful, why would it won't let me gather it? In a rage, I threw a pinch of it onto the ground and jumped back in shock at the flat green surface beneath me suddenly blossomed into tall grass and flowers. I looked down to the remaining 2 pinches. Bah, said Flint, finishing my thought. Plant food. I punched up the tall grass for seeds. That's what stuff I'd use for? Who knew plants needed to eat? Cluck, cluck, cluck. To me, and 2 chickens had shown up. Can I help you? I asked in mock formality. Splashing in the lagoon suddenly got exciting as cluck, cluck, cluck. They interrupted. Their eyes focused on what's in my hand. The seeds? I asked, suddenly remembering the similar encounter I had with other chickens. The other that the creeper blew up, then staring at me last time I'd seen the seeds in my hand. Had I been wondering about that the night before the explosion? Is this what you want? I said, holding my hand out. Isn't it? 2 sharp pecks and 2 of the 4 seeds were gone. And if you never seen this happen, trust me, I'll tell you, it did not make up the next part. Red little hearts, like the type you'd see in some old-timey cartoon, began rising from the 2 fowl. You been seeing this too? I asked Moo. The love-struck cluckers walked over to each other, stood eye to eye, then parted. A tiny white chick popped out and existed between them. So that's where babies come from, I explained. At least in this world. I tried repeating the same process, but their parents ignored my offering. I got it, I said. You're full, and besides, I could use the extra bread. Running over to my garden, I planted the seeds in a new row opposite the irrigation trench. Then, reaching to my last 2 pinches of bone meal, I spread out the fair, neatly mature stalks. Instantly, my target squares ripened. This is getting better and better, I said, without realizing how much better the day was about to get. Harvesting the wheat gave me 4, that's right, 4 packets of new seeds. Awesome, I cried, replanting them and rushing back to tell my friends. Guys, I called, saving golden train. Sometimes you get extra seeds. I can spend the garden without having to find more. Moo, cried Moo, strangely matching my enthusiasm. Completely out of character, she and the sheep began stamping toward me. Whoa, what's the matter? I asked, looking toward their heads, to make sure something wasn't chasing them. At the same time, I switched the wheat in my hand for a sword. The animal stopped. The sheep even looked away when I got it. You want this? I said, holding up the wheat and recapturing their undivided attention. Just like the chickens, you can, also, feeling suddenly awkward and wondering my square cheeks were blushing, I held out the bushels in Flint and Cloud. Hearts flew, eyes met, and then the island had another resident. Happy birthday, I said to the adorable rainy day colored lamb. Welcome to our tiny the island, little Rainy. Turning to Moo, I was about to make a joke about having more mouths to feed. I stopped, however, when I saw her turn away. Maybe she just lost interest now that the wheat was gone. I hoped that was it. Hope she wasn't thinking about the cow partner she lost, or the baby calf she'd never have. I'll bring you home some more tomorrow, I told her, noticing the darkening sky. Promise. You're the only one of your kind, I thought sadly, walking back to the hill, just like me, so if you're going to be alone together, it doesn't mean that we're really alone. I shouldn't have tried to study the monsters that night. Remembering Moo's loss, as well as the first chickens that dredged up the buried trauma of the creeper attack, I should have gone right to bed, cleared my head, and started fresh following night. But then, reliving the attack that was led me to my next discovery. It happened halfway through the night. I couldn't stop replaying the nightmare. I tried to focus on the mob spawning right in front of me, on the real creepers gliding silently past my window. All they faded behind was flashbacks. I couldn't shake the roar of the blast, the pain of the wounds, and grisly images meat and cowhide, and suddenly, a full present, blinking memories away, I ran down the tunnel of the bunker over the storage chest where it was. A feather. I'd forgotten all about it, along with the clip of Flint. And don't beat yourself up on it, I thought, taking him back to the observation room. You found them different times, which is so many different things to keep track of. I placed them on the crafting table, and a single stick between, and they see free to focus on fighting and look at a deadly result. Look, I hollered. to the window, looking up at 4 new arrows. You see these? Whether the mobs did or didn't, they sure sealed them enough. Now you get what you've been giving, I said to nearby skeletons, along with the rest of you. To punctuate the point, the spider skittered past my window. You never get as close, I told it. As your brother did when I only had 1 arrow, I waved the multiple missiles at it. And more important, I now know how to make them. As long as I can get sticks from cheese and split from gravel and feathers from. I paused and lost a new idea. Seeds make more chickens, I thought, and the garden makes extra seeds. Moo, called the approaching cow, apparently sensing my scheme. That's right, I replied. Breeding free chickens for their feathers. Moo just looked at me blankly. What I mean by free, I clarified, is that everything I make, tools and weapons, takes a lot of effort and time to gather resources like wood and iron stone. But this chicken farming idea, all it takes is bonus garden seeds. I would have gotten away, but that's why they're free. Free feathers, and I move past the knot of the stomach of revelation. Free food. I'm gonna get a heck of a lot of free extra food for fighting my way through that cave, and besides, I said, my mouth not watering involuntarily, roasted chicken tastes good. Humph, snorted Moo, dampening my euphoric mood. No, it's not the same as eating you, I replied defensively, or them. I motioned to the sheep family behind her. I know you guys, we're friends, but those birds, they're just, I can't even tell them apart, can you? Moo tried the silent treatment. I need this, I pressed, refusing to be cowed by a cow. I need all the help I can get if I'm going to get off the iron and coal. Arguing and Moo had brought up an idea to lower racist in my mind, and the theory I've been mulling over the time, and now feel confident enough to express. See that? I asked, pointing to the torch of the tree. Since lighting it up, not one monster, not one has spawned anywhere near it, which means the mobs can only spawn in torchlight, which means if I can get enough coal to make enough torches to light the entire island, my quest for security is done. I took a longer coal from my belt, which means that I'm going to need tons of this stuff, which means I got a lot of mining in a monster-infested cave. I waved the lump of the resident chickens, which means I need tons of free feathers and food. Moo, condemned my superior mammal. How can you judge me? I quipped, turning back to the bunker, when all you live on is free food. Moo, she tried another and I slammed the tunnel door. Debbie Downer, I grumbled as I got into bed, trying to shove my second thoughts in the back of my mind. Well, you're not going to dampen the mining morning. And she didn't. For the entire week that followed, yep, I mean week, up till now I've been giving you a play-by-play, day by day, but we could pull back because something awesomely awesome happened. A routine. For the first time since waking up in the unpredictable world, it's been manageable, controllable, reasonably predictable days. I got up to every morning, slapped my armor, grabbed my tools and weapons, picked up some bread and fish, and sauntered jauntily underground. Every day I filled my pack with more mineral wealth, coal, iron, and even more arcane redstone. While the last substance still confused me, the two kept my furnace humming. I learned how to make iron boots and pants to match. By the second day I looked like a proper, if battle-scarred, warrior, and by the 4th day I learned how to repair my battle scars. You ever heard of an anvil? Just like the hearts, I'd only seen them in cartoons, you know, like the one dropping on the character's head. Now, after learning how to combine ingots into iron cubes, and after combining these line cubes with an upside-down T with ingots, I got a thick, heavy, ridiculously useful appliance. Imagine the 2 slots of a furnace side by side instead of up and down. You place the item you want fixed in the left slot and some extra iron in the right one, and bam, good as new. I fixed my armor and my tools, even worn out my combining it with the other worn-out bow I'd gotten from vanquishing a skeleton. And that bow would come real handy because all that iron and coal didn't come cheap. First mob I killed outright was a zombie, and it wasn't a safe distance. Day 1, I was picking away at the deposit of raw ore, and I heard all too familiar growl. You ready? I asked Protector, because I sure am. As the green gurgler flashed in the torchlight, I stood ready to sharp iron a welcome. You know what your problem is? I asked, as Protector's first slash knocked the growler back on its riding heels. You're just too dumb to be afraid. 4 slices all it took. 4 slices and zombie was meat at my feet. And we're just getting started, I boasted, Protector. I collected a lot of reeking flesh that week, as well as a spider silk and skeleton bones. The last trophy fertilized my garden, which got more seeds, which, well, you get it. Making more and more chickens and having to chase them all over the island brought home the need to corral them. Need the term chicken coop for the fenced-in area, or an actual chicken house. For me, it was former. I learned how to craft sections of wood fencing and place them in the square in the meadow. When I lured the birds with seeds, I closed them up securely with double wooden gates. I was collecting my eating feathers yet. I figured I'd wait until I had more chickens and I knew what to do with. That way, I saved a few arrows I had for only enemy. I wouldn't touch it with half-a-mile pole. At first, I saw a creeper in my 5th morning in the cave. Came out of a small entrance tunnel, walked past the ever-expanding border of the torchlight, and I thought I spied something moving in the gloom. But it was just seeing me first because the armless, soundless bomb was already sweeping forward. Fighting jitters, I backed up a few paces, drew my bow, and took aim. The arrow hit the creeper just as it started to sizzle. Flying back a few steps, I tried another charge. I know how you feel, I said, losing my next and final shaft. As the smoke cleared, I saw something hovering in the creeper's place. It was a pile of little gray granules, and didn't have a chemistry lab to deduce what they were.
Fire, tools, and iron. All my discoveries are mirrored progress of my species. What else could it be next to the mighty power of guns? This changes everything. It didn't, at least not at that point. Believe me when I say I tried every experience I think of. I tried even setting stuff on fire with a torch, which was not my brightest moment. To say the least, fortunately for you, the reader, especially for me, the moron, this world wouldn't let me blow myself up. Maybe it's part of a bigger process, I told Moo, collecting the hovering pile. Maybe I need to make a gun first. Moving the power to the side, I tried combining wood and metal in every conceivable way. At least I got a rehash of everything I already built, and I'm not experiencing reminder of grateful of what you have. Not like I really need it, I thought, finally calling a night. Got plenty of armor and weapons, got pretty darn good with both. So why did I stop, you ask? Why didn't I just gather up all the coal I mined and light the island to keep monsters from spawning? The answer is I needed the coal and the fuel in the furnace and smelt the iron of all my armor. Weapons, tools, and anvil to repair everything, and right you say, I wouldn't need to smelt all that iron if I just saved the coal and the light in the island. Well, for starters, there was a carrot. Yes, carrot. For a while, zombies have been dropping more than just their flesh. Sometimes it would be even got me an ingot or worn tool, but one time, I think around the end of the 6th day, my latest kill dropped the small, pointed, green-topped root I recognized instantly. Ah, I said, picking it up. What's up, Doc? What's up with the new source of food? Replanting it in the garden, sprinkling it with a little bone meal allowed me to soon have a whole row of crops, which meant I would divert even more wheat seeds into chicken farming. And then there was bluestone. At least, that's what I was calling it. It's bluestone, hence the name, you get from rocks of coal and redstone, which is the latter. I would find the use for it. But the idea was there would be even more minerals down there where they made me wonder what else might be waiting for to be discovered. So yes, there's practical reasons for going on, and that should be enough for anybody. But the real reason, the one I would have even admitted to myself back then, was that for the first time since landing in the crazy, scary world, I finally let in control. I knew what I was doing, and I knew how to do it. Racking win after win made me feel strong and powerful, and to have to know what it feels like, especially after feeling so weak and powerless. Would you give all that up? I might have never thought the world hadn't chosen to stop it for me. I knew something was wrong the moment I opened my eyes and noticed the left hand felt tingly. Have I slept on it wrong? No, I couldn't be in that case. This world wouldn't let me sleep on my side, or does it? Would I roll over falling asleep? I tried shaking my hand, waking around the room, dressing in iron, having breakfast, doing other things I normally did, but the tingling wouldn't leave. It was a painful feeling, the kind of needles I had in the other world I had gone to sleep. This felt slightly more sensitive, more alive. I didn't know this new feeling, though. No other reason than it finally knew. I feel normal. Finally normal on my side when everything was going away. My last thing I needed was change. I went down to the mines, just as we usually did, and got my pick, and started searching for another cache of minerals. Mining went smoothly. For a while, I forgot about my left-hand troubles, and then I heard a zombie moan. First of the day, I told Protector, is a ghoul slash with a light. Let's get this over with. I raised my blade to strike, and that's when I knew Mr. Normal had checked out. No easy 4-strike kills. This meatbag took twice punishment before going down, and not before giving me a few really painful punches in return. I reeled back in surprise, shaking the zombie turned to smoke. Maybe it's just a one-off, I asked Protector nervously. Some kind of rare super zombie? Think again, answered the world. In the form of an arrow whizzing past my face, I pivoted to see the arrow's owner, and there was only skeleton. I decided a conventional charge. I took a few hits, winced the healing wounds, and soon found that a new bonehead was just as durable as the zombie. What's happening? I blurted out, and my 7th or 8th strike finally turned the attacker into fertilizer. Like a long-lost friend, panic arrived and drove my feet back into the ground. Something's up. The mobs are harder to kill, and everything's changed. Moo just looked at me calmly and uttered her signature answer. Well, at least you're the same, I said, feeling a little relieved. Moo might not have been the most stimulating conversationalist, but her steady, even demeanor was tonic for my nerves. Okay, I breathed. Maybe I'm exaggerating just a little bit, but I looked down at my hand. Some things are definitely different. Moo gave me a casual glance and ambled away. I followed her, making a while. Do you think that can happen? That this world would literally change overnight? I looked around us, checking to see everything else was the same. If that's true, I began, starting to absorb more Moo's serenity, then what am I supposed to do about it? Moo said, she said matter-of-factly. What do you mean change with it? I shot back. What kind of lame blow-off statement was that? Moo, she repeated, glancing in the direction of my left hand. I felt the tingling appendage, considering the weight of Moo's words. Change with it, I said softly, then moved. If this world's going to be monsters tougher to fight, maybe even me new ways to fight them. Gun was a pipe dream, I know, but hopefully one where the pipe was a gun barrel. Thanks, I said, darting back to the hill. You always know what to say. Once again, I threw out the previous day's wood and metal combos. Once again, I didn't get a gun. I did get something else, however, something is just the day before losing combination. Shield, I breathed, loading up the long board. Today I can make a shield. If that new invention didn't feel my fear of change, that happened to be next bird for good. Up until this point, my right hand had been tools for weapons, right until the crafting. I had only show me what I could make with the materials. But now, did this new tingling sensation mean, yes, I reached the ghostly image of the shield, gasped for my left hand, suddenly opened. Yes, I crowed. dancing out of the show my pals. Made the shield, the mob's fate is sealed, my protection is sealed. All thanks to my shield. Ba, moo, ba, replied the chorus of talent judges. Okay, so maybe I didn't write the songs from my former life, I said with a chuckle. But at least I got a little protection now. Along with Moo's super important new lesson. Bah, said little Rainy, now full-size sheep. They grow up so fast. Glad you asked, I answered, and motioning Moo. Announced, when the world changes, you gotta change with it.
Ain't that a lesson? A lesson a lot of people could take home if they really wanted to, but the bank's always closed, and so is the minds of many. Sadly. What's also sad is that today we read pages 149 to 163, chapter 13. It's sad because it's a pretty low episode and, easy to write, good on my, good on the good old vocals. It's weird, earlier, between recordings, I just had a sneezing fit for literally 20 minutes straight. I was sneezing. I had to cut all that out in the last episode. It was the craziest thing ever. I'd never had that happen to me before. Maybe I'm getting another sinus infection. I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. But what I do know is that next time we'll be reading pages 164 to 182, chapters 14 and 15. Which is nice about it is it's 18 pages, so basically it's going to be 16 pages. Well, actually, it's going to be 14 pages. Because I consider the start and end of chapters, because they have less words, half a page. So you take 18, you take the 4, because you have 2 beginnings and 2 ends, because of 2 chapters, and then you cut them in half, add them together, and you get 2. So then you take the 14 that you already had, add 2, and you get 16. So what was 18, you get 16. That's the mental math of me. But that's not what you need to learn about. What you need to learn about is what we are going to be learning in... the learning corner of the day, doing it up Stonsey's way, Bob. Today we're learning about the Otterhound. Now, I say this dog is from Disney, and the only reason why I say that is because this looks like the dog from The Secret Life of Pets. I'm not 100% sure, though. It's fluffy, it's fatted, it probably likes hot dogs, heck, imagine being so made fun of a breed that your actual breed name is Otter. That's quite embarrassing, but before I can have any strong opinions or make fun of anything, I should understand where it's coming from. I should understand its history, and even if I'm trying to defend myself in an argument, I should know the history of some things. Because if you know the history of something, not only do you build your credibility, make you look smarter in front of your mom, your dad, and your Winnie the Pooh hat that stares at you behind the light when you do your audiobooks, but also it just makes you smarter in general. Now, intelligence doesn't lie in knowing information. It lies in knowing information and using it. So if you ever learn something from this and your mom or dad or Winnie the Pooh hat that's scaringly looking at you and I think is gone now, where did it go, is trying to be like, oh, I want to know about the Otterhound, you should either A, go to this video and show them this, not totally being biased, or B, you should learn from this video, take notes, and just, learn from this at all. This is a great way to learn with education. And honestly, even though it's just about a dog breed, later it'll be about, I don't know, what other educational books I got? Tanks, guns, cats. I do have a book on cats. I'm just doing dogs right now. When we're done with the Hound group, I'm actually going to switch to another book, but I don't know yet. But yeah, the history of the Otterhound, speaking of, is that one of the most unusual members of the Hound group is the Otterhound, a hardy, tussled, scented hound of uncertain origin. The breed may have originated in France. It closely resembles the old French Verian hound. Other breeds that may have played a part in the origin were the Welsh Harrier, Southern Hound, a foxhound-like breed, Bloodhound, or any type of water spaniel. Whatever the generic makeup, the Otterhound came a full unique niche of the hunter otters in England, and thus most associated with the country. King John kept his first documented packs of Otterhounds in 1212, 1212. The breed was useful for finding otters and depleting the fish in local streams. They would trail the otter in its den and bathe when it's locating it. The hunters would then remove the Otterhounds and then send small terriers to dispatch the otter. Otter hunting was never among the most popular of sports, lacking formal trappings and fox hunting and taking place under wet and uncomfortable conditions. Nonetheless, the sport reached its peak during the latter half of the 19th century, when over 20 packs were hunting with Britain. But a century died out after the Second World War, and the first Otterhound came to America at the beginning of the 20th century and was recognized by the AKC,
or the American Kennel Company soon after. Otterhound aficionados have been especially adamant in the breed retain its functional characteristics without succumbing to exaggerating grooming practices for the Dalmatian breed, only a competitive show dog. Even though the practice is maintained a true Otterhound type, the breed has never been especially popular as a show dog or pet. Despite the fact that the Otterhound is one of the most ancient of the English breeds, it is one of the rarest of English Kennel Club, or AKC, recognized breeds, averging precariously close to extinction. Oh no. Puppy is close to extinction. Well, if you don't want this dog to go extinct and you want to get the breed, what's the temperament? How's it do with kids? How's it going to do with my kids? Well, the temperament of the Otterhound is that as a packhound, the Otterhound is amenable with other dogs. As a hunter, is an innate urge to follow the trails of mammals. Once on a trail, it's determined to single-handed and nearly impossible to dissuade from its task. Even though the Otterhound's job is not to kill its quarry, it is still nonetheless give chase to small animals. The Otterhound still loves to hunt, sniff, trail, and especially swim. At home, it's boisterous, amiable, and easygoing, although stubborn, affectionate with its family, and very good at children. Because the Otterhound was never traditionally kept as a pet, it is among the most responsive of breeds. However, the Otterhound is a low-key dog that can function as a quiet companion. Very cool. It's very kind, but, very distant. I understand that. It's a cool type of dog. But yeah, now you know this. What's the upkeep? Even though most would say you shouldn't groom it, what is the upkeep of the Otterhound? How do I keep it in its fast, happy glory? Well, the upkeep of the Otterhound needs daily exercise in a safe area or on a leash. It is loud, melodious voice that carries for long distances. The Otterhound's coat requires only weekly brushing or combing. It may need a beard wash more frequently. Tidiness is not one of its virtues. The large, hairy feet tend to hold debris and mud. The long hair around the mouth could hold water and food. It can sleep outdoors in temperate or cool climates, giving good shelter. Oh, it's a messy puppy. It's a messy puppy. It's like my puppy is, except he's sleeping in another room. I would talk to him, but he's sleeping in another room, and he's just over there. Now, for any children listening in, please cover your ears. For any teenagers and adults, please get ready for the health section of this. By health, I mean health concerns of the animal. And I usually do say don't listen to this if you're a kid. But that's just so, the magic of an animal stays alive and you don't gotta teach them that through me. So, the major concerns are CHD and gastric torsion. Minor concerns are elbow dysplasia, CTP. They're occasionally seen with epilepsy and thrombopathy. And their suggested tests are hip, elbow DNA, or for thrombopathy. Thrombopathy, their lifespan 10 to 13 years. Alright, so, I don't see this dog. What's the form and function, Stone? Well, the form and function is that the Otterhound is a large dog with a somewhat stocky build, slightly longer than tall, not exaggerated in any way, enabling the slow, steady pace for long distances without tiring. This coat, which consists of rough, coarse outer coat, combined with soft, woolly, slightly oily undercoat, is essentially protecting it from brambles and cold water. Its fairly large nose and muzzle, allowing ample room for olfactory receptors. Its large feet provide traction over rough and slippery terrain. This is a strong athletic breed that can withstand harsh weather and long strenuous hunts. This expression is open and amiable, reflecting its temperament. The Otterhound is noted as a steadfast pursuit of its quarry, despite the roughest of conditions. It has an acute sense of smell and can trail unerringly through running water and over all sorts of terrain. Now, for the final section of today's video is the tier list of the Otterhound. 5 is the best, 4 is better, 3 is average, 2 is worse, and 1 is the worst unless it comes to grooming, because we do not want high grooming. Too much work. So, the energy level is out of 2. Pretty low in energy. Exercise requirements and playfulness is out of 3. The affection level is out of 5. This is a lovey doggy. Friendliness towards dogs and other pets is out of 3, so pretty average. Friendliness towards strangers is out of 5, so that might be a little sketchy. Out of 2, pretty easy to train. Watchdog abilities out of 4. Pretty good to keep an eye on things. Protection abilities out of 1, and pretty low. Grooming requirements are out of 3, which is not good. Cold tolerance is out of 4, and heat tolerance is at a 2. Can take the cold, can't take the heat. Seems to be a common theme with the hounds. Oi. Sorry, it was a hiccup kind of burp. It felt weird, so I said oi. Oh my goodness. Well, the healthy weight of an Otterhound male is 115 pounds. Oh my goodness. Do you know how much 115 pounds are? Oh, he's a fat boy. And for a female, it's 80 pounds. Oh, you're also fat. I love both of you. The height of a male should be 27 inches, and female is 24 inches. I want that into perspective. 27 inches, about 3 foot in gait, and it's 105 pounds. That dog can crush a rib. Did you know the mathematics of a weighted blanket is your weight divided by 5 times 2? So I weigh 130 pounds. It also has to do with age, but my weight, I'm 130. Divide that by 2, you get 65. So then you get 65, and then times that by 2 and 120. So the weight that would crush my ribs is 120 pounds. I think that's right. Or is it just divided by 2? 65 pounds is like the maximum or minimum I should have, and 120 is the maximum. Something like that. I really don't know. It also has to do with your age and how tall you are. So yeah, the math is a little sketch. Well, it's also, I wouldn't say sketch. It's just kind of a long name is the next dog we're going to be reading about, which is the one we'll be reading about in the next episode. So, I hope you guys have a super fantastic, wonderful day. Be polite, be efficient, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye!